Thought I'd NBE, pen in hand, all planned, but the haze got thick, smoke made demands. Mind floating, promises eroding. Now I'm stuck, couch deep, dreams corroding. I was gonna sack the minister, clear the grind, but the clock ticks slow, lost track of time. The cushion, swallow ambition, hold every puff, another toll on my soul. I wanted to rise, but then I got high. Wanted to fight, but then I got high. Now I'm here, cash stuffed in the couch, and I know why. Cause I got high. I wanted to rise, but then I got high. Wanted to fight, but then I got high. Now I'm here, cash stuffed in the couch, and I know why. Cause I got high. Expropriate the loot, redistribute the score. Revolution brewing, but my feet hit the floor. Couch grip like quicksand, plans fell apart. Remote in one hand, munchies in the cart. I was gonna march, megaphone in the air, but the air turned sweet, and I didn't care. Ashtray overflowing, dreams deferred, vision blurred, passion slurred, future unheard. Intentions high, execution low, ideas bloom, but they never grow. But intentions high, execution low, ideas bloom, but they never grow. I wanted to rise, but then I got high. Wanted to fight, but then I got high. Now I'm here, cash shoved in the couch, and I know why. Cause I got high. I wanted to rise, but then I got high. Wanted to fight, but then I got high. Now I'm here, cash stuffed in the couch, and I know why. Cause I got high. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, yeah.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Cash stuffed in the couch. I wanted to ride, but then I got high. I was going to sack the minister, but then I got high. I wanted to ride, but then I got... indeed, indeed. The saga of Pala Pala continues without any resolution. Then I got high. Welcome back to the program, folks. It is Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. Live in our studio here in central Pennsylvania. Good to have you back with me once again. Let's get into the news. Boy, President Trump just brought the hammer down last night in political theater in his State of the Union address. It was entertaining. It was hilarious. It was sad and pathetic to watch the Democrats reveal themselves who they truly are: hateful, spiteful, disgusting, vile, repulsive, racist, bigots, and anti-American scumbags. Yes, that's who they were. But before we get into the news, I want to talk about something. A major media outlet has contacted the refugee family directly, not through me. That's their prerogative. I'm not a gatekeeper for refugees. Contact this refugee family directly, and they said they would like to do an interview with the family. The family is uncomfortable. They said they would be willing to do it if that major media outlet agreed to let Colonel Wyatt host a Zoom session. Now, why is that? Well, that protects their equities. But the media outlet then said that no, we're not interested in that. We don't want Colonel Wyatt to coach you on what to say. We don't want Colonel Wyatt to influence your comments, and we don't want to hear from an American. Well, that's what this major media outlet said. That's their prerogative, but the refugee family that was told this were kind of put off by that. What do you mean, coach? So the people in question contacted me for an interview. I never contacted them. I didn't know who they were, from Adam. They contacted me. They offered to do a refugee interview. I agreed to do it. We did it the next day. There was no coaching. There was no directing. There was no refusal to ask hard questions. And it made me think about this whole process, and I realized what's going on with News 24. And I read an op-ed by a respected journalist, Peter Fabricius, today, and the final sentence really disappointed me. I've read things from Peter Bruce, and his Trump derangement syndrome has disappointed me. Otherwise, relatively objective and talented people really disappoint me. And I've realized why. I mean, I think I've always known why, but it's just become painfully clear to me. You see, the people from this major media outlet assumed that I would be coaching people and assumed that I influences what they say because that's what they do. They are deflecting their own behavior and mannerisms and character onto someone they don't even know. The presumption that someone is like them because they're dishonest, immoral, bankrupt, and morally questionable means that they're going to throw that on shade on me. And that came through again today, reading the comments in my video exposing Anderson Cooper's bullshit documentary, his trip to South Africa, which was total crap. He didn't talk to one objective person in that conversation, save colleague Creel, and he gave him 30 seconds. And all he gave him was a chance to answer the question about white genocide, which is the canard, the red herring that the leftists and the ANC politicians and the media are throwing about, not rational people. They do this, as one of my viewers pointed out, to throw a weak argument out there, attach the weak argument to their opponent, and then act like they've defeated their opponent. And that's really what's going on. Yes, I've just heard from the family, Ellen, and they basically told this media outlet to get stuffed. Yeah, they also told them, they didn't say this, but I know that they're insulted that they were coached. I'm deeply insulted by it, and it's a media outlet that I will reveal at some point, but not today. We're just going to wait to see how this plays out. Not News 24. It wasn't News 24. It's on this side of the Atlantic, and it just really brings home the point that most people in the media aren't journalists. They aren't. They're activists. Most of them are, not all, but most are privileged, rich, elite little shitheads who have lived a life of luxury and or joy, going to elite schools and then being handed jobs because they have credentials that don't mean jack shit. It doesn't mean they're objective. It doesn't mean that they're insightful. It doesn't mean that they understand things. And I saw this play out with the Daily Maverick when Rebecca Davis attacked me and called me a YouTuber. A YouTuber. Really, a YouTuber. Not a university professor, not a academically credentialed political scientist, historian, linguist, counterintelligence agent, intelligence analyst, colonel, army officer, advisor to ambassadors to presidents. None of those things, but a YouTuber. And of course, there's nothing wrong with being a YouTuber, but it was meant to diminish who I am because that's the game that these leftists play in the media. Also, I've noticed a trend here in America. Several media outlets, U.S. media outlets, must have spread something around and are intentionally not mentioning me in stories when they're stealing my content. They've stolen my original analysis and ideas and used it in their stories without attributing it to me. I have participated in interviews, which I facilitate for other people, and I've given background information, which I didn't say was background information. It could be included in the article. It was included in the article that was subsequently written here in the States, but never attributed to me when they're talking about refugees. There was a concerted effort here to hide my bona fides by people whose bona fides aren't legitimate. And that's the reality we're dealing with here. So, that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way the world goes. The rich and powerful keep the rich and powerful in power, and they don't want upstarts who actually can think, walk, and chew gum simultaneously. And the same thing for the racist. So I noticed on my video that I published about Anderson Cooper, several black supremacists and racists commented, of course, you're a racist, you're a racist. Please tell me one instance in that video where I advocated that one group of people based on skin pigmentation is better than another group of people or more deserving of anything. Please show me where that is. Give me a timestamp. Show me where I advocated that white people are better than black people or brown people. Show me. You cannot, because no such thing ever occurred. No such racism ever existed. The racism is in their pea-brained minds of the people who post their idiotic, racist, ludicrous insults on YouTube. That's the bottom line. So go look at it. You'll see those comments on the video. I didn't delete all of them. I responded to a few of them to the pea-brained little tiny penis clowns who have no intellectual capacity whatsoever, and their basis for commenting is to insult and accuse. It's pretty clear. One racist published something on there, and it called me a racist and insulted me. And then, in the midst of all that, insulting me, the racist was insulting me. Thank you, Michelle, for the 70 rand. Yes, we are all human, but not according to some people. In the midst of all that, the person said, "You're just one-sided. You're racist." And yeah. Well, all sides should be heard. Yeah, that was kind of the crux of my video. In fact, I explicitly stated that, and that was the shortcoming in this program. It was not objective, and it didn't include all views. The only view that actually addressed anything objective was when he talked to Khalid Creel for 30 seconds, and he threw a question at him about white genocide. That's it. Not one family that had a member that was raped, dismembered, tortured, murdered. Not one. The only people they brought on there are people who will fit their narrative. Darryl Brown. Now, I don't know what Darryl Brown told them that didn't appear in the video. He might have told them all the story, and they chose to cut it out. But that's the second time Darryl Brown has allowed himself to be used by CNN and 60 Minutes and Anderson Cooper. So at some point, either he does it knowingly or he's complicit in it. And that's fine. If that's his approach, he thinks that the thousands of people that murdered are just victims of just, crime, as the lady whose husband was murdered says, opportunistic. That may be the case for you, lady. But that is not the case of what happened in Brits. That is not the case of what happened to the Brun family. That is not the case of what happened to hundreds, thousands of other South Africans and their children murdered, raped, tortured, executed on farms around the country. And that doesn't even begin to get into those murdered, raped, and tortured elsewhere. And then, of course, they bring the whataboutisms. They bring Wandile Sibolo into the thing to spread nonsense about, well, there are more black farmers and they're attacked more often. Well, that's simply a lie. That's simply a lie. Simply a lie. The attacks on black farmers, yes, they are robbed and some are murdered. And I've reported on that. While Wandile has been ignoring that, claiming that the stories are ignored, I've reported on that all along. Always reported when Indians, coloreds, and black South African farmers are attacked. I've always reported on that. But Wandile claims it's ignored. Well, by your media and by you, not by me. There's a difference. When the cattle farmer was shot in the head in the Free State at his butchery, wound up in a hospital in a coma, came out of the coma a few months later, then died as a consequences of his wounds on his farm, and I covered that story. That cattle farmer wasn't tortured, raped, or dismembered. Nobody scrawled things on the wall about him. He was a victim of crime. That is correct. That is not the same story with most of the white farmers. This is a concerted, intentional effort to drive people off the farms. And these lies about revenge killings and lies, it's been 32 years. The people committing these crimes weren't even born in most cases during apartheid, and they're not victims of anything except in their own minds. The willful effort to ignore the persecution of South Africans leaves me gobsmacked. A story in Daily Maverick by Peter Fabricius, a otherwise excellent commentator, denying that persecution is happening to white South Africans is absolutely ludicrous. I'd have to ask Peter next time I see him, what did you say when the National Party had laws that discriminated against black South Africans? Was that not persecution of black South Africans? When jobs were reserved for white South Africans, were blacks not being persecuted? When black South Africans weren't allowed to own land in certain places, or when their land was taken from them in the 1980s during apartheid, was that not persecution? And now the exact same thing happens to a white minority by a majority government, even more morally reprehensible. But apparently that's not persecution. You see, these people that live in these fancy houses and palaces don't understand what it's like to be in the trenches. Anyway. The 60-minute documentary did not really work to spread the media narrative besides Colonel. Who the hell is Osmond Gold? Who the hell is Osmond Gold? Never heard of him. Yeah, no, so, I mean, look, that's the bottom line here. It's so while I sit here hidden from the masses on YouTube, these other people with their big subscriber base can swoop in and do a story and then disappear and get lots of views and make lots of money off of it, and that's their prerogative. But unfortunately, when I cover this stuff objectively, that leaves me open for being hidden and criticized. When I say that white people are no better than black people, I get attacked by right-wing racists. When I say that black people are no better than white people, I get attacked by left-wing black supremacists and blue-haired tinies who are on the left. You can't win when you just believe that everyone is equal. Freya, what's up? Anna Marie Nell, welcome to you. Manny van Rooyen. The reason for the start today at 11 a.m. Eastern is because Ronaldo will be an hour late. So Wednesdays with the Colonel will start an hour later today. Just so you know that, okay? Arc Precision Solutions wants to know the place in the photograph. That is Colorado. It's a photograph I took when I went out to speak at the Energy Conference in Aspen, Colorado back in 2019. On the way out, I went the back roads and I took that photograph east of Aspen, probably about 35 miles, 40 miles from Aspen, heading east, which brought me out below Denver. So, yeah, that's where that's at, Colorado. Good evening, Garrett. Orangutan Juice, Elizabeth Carsons. Who else we got here in the chat? People saying hello to each other. Sounds like they wanted to catch out these people and failing that clip, so it looks like they did. I'm not sure what that means. Talking about the... Doesn't the non-disclosure agreement prevent them from doing interviews with the media? What non-disclosure agreement and whom are you talking about? Refugees? No. Non-disclosure agreement is supposed to prevent people from telling who they interviewed them, where they interviewed them, how, the nature of the interview. That's what the non-disclosure agreement is. Excuse me, I've ran out of my asthma medication, so that's why I haven't had a chance to reorder it. Anthony says, currently you are a South African Zabura. Growing up in the USA, you are all... Stay away. Well, thank you very kindly to say that. Appreciate the NDAs for the process. You're not allowed to discuss the process, not your experiences. They can't shut you up. Couldn't agree more with you if I tried, Chris. What a bunch of useless entities. Yep. Thanks for even after time from just serving your country. I saw that. I truly appreciate the work you do. Thank you very much. Willem Rousseau, thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's what I do. And if offered a capacity something else, I would do that as well. I did throw my hat in the ring for the ambassador, but I'm not rich. I'm not connected. I'm not a Brent Bozell. I'm not a Joel Pollack. I'm not well known. And I didn't give money to the Trump campaign, so that's never going to happen. Plus, I'm honest. I'd be honest with the president. I wouldn't do it in front of other people, but I'd tell him when he's wrong. And I don't think that they're going to put me up there in front of Trump because of that. Mr. Miss says, they can't deal with people who are smarter than them and cannot deal with people who don't share their view. I think you've hit that 100% on the nail. Your Facebook monologue regarding Anderson Cooper is brilliant. Well, thank you, Heidi. Hi. Thank you. Hendra says, jealousy makes people nasty. You are correct. Nasty, you're correct. Nadine says, something short in the chat about what I heard about the living condition of refugees that a friend told me that is not... Nadine, why don't you hold it till after the news, please? And then you can share that if you're still here. Yeah, they didn't interview dead people. They know it's not racist. They don't like what you have to say. You're called a racist. Correct. Yes, well, Trekbar, you have to understand it's not my video being targeted, to be fair. YouTube automatically does it. Anytime anybody puts a term, that color, not blue, but a different one, this color, and you put the other word with it, they automatically, if it's in the title, they automatically put that disclaimer up there, linking you to the leftist hate-wanking site Wikipedia, run by a bunch of leftist trolls at this stage, which was once a brilliant effort to bring an online encyclopedia to the world for obscure information. I am an editor and a contributor to Wikipedia and have been since its very beginning. Unfortunately, it's a leftist hate-wanking platform, and it's gotten worse over the past 10 to 15 years. Once upon a time, it was a place you could find useful information. You still can, but you have to view everything askew when you get it from Wikipedia because credible, reliable information that's sourced, that's published on there. For instance, the Armed Forces of Liberia Security Sector Reform page that was up on Wikipedia had a bunch of nonsense by leftists. The leftists put nonsense on the page that was factually incorrect. As an editor, I went there, removed that, which was the power of Wikipedia as an editor, and I replaced it with the factual information, objective, no bias one way or the other, and listed sources for where the information came from. My editing was removed, and the leftist drivel was replaced. I did it again, same thing happened. You cannot trust Wikipedia. Jimmy Wales' project has become a begging bowl to make money for people, and it's a leftist hate-wanking site. Massively weaponized. How that? It's weaponized here too, Save Oosthuizen. Exactly. So, Light Rain, that's the point, and that's what was most disturbing about this, is in the same thing that's been made for ages. Oh, they weren't great burial sites. Yes, that's correct. They weren't burial sites, and when Trump said it during the Oval Office meeting, I corrected him on the spot. Obviously, you didn't hear what I said. I was on YouTube. He was in the Oval Office. I corrected it, and I've corrected ever since. It really doesn't matter whether they're grave sites or not. And that's why I say that Darryl Brown, whether he intends to or not, has become a useful prop for propaganda. And it's the second time he's done it. He did it in Misinfo Nation. He was interviewed there. So the disdain, I can almost see it in the faces of some of these people when they speak. The reality is those were markers to commemorate, honor the dead farming community members who were murdered. It was only 1,000. It was just a fraction of the actual number have been murdered. And so he even mentioned that in the video, but again, allowed himself to be used in this video. I don't know why he talks to them unless that he believes that that's the way things are. Not an attack on Farmer Brown, but I would like to talk to him. If anybody knows Farmer Darryl Brown and can put me in contact with him, I'd be happy to discuss this with him, because I think a lot of what was probably said by him was left on the cutting room floor. Gamer streamer has focused on politics and his ear of young people, introducing them to hard conservative ideas. Okay, thank you, Light Rain. Never heard of him. Never heard of him. Yep. You will get your pay ASAP. We can work in your state for consultation, not for profit. Cock broke now, says Anthony Nandia. A lot of people are broke, man. I get it. I'm not sure. I wasn't talking about pay. I was talking about people stealing your original ideas. Anyway, so symbolism is not in vocabulary, not at long school. What? Mark Myberg, what's going on, man? All right. President Trump just trolled. Whoa, that was weird. The whole thing just did this. President Trump trolled the Democrats last night in the State of the Union nation. It was incredible. Is there an NAD? I didn't see it. What is an NAD? I have no idea what an NAD. You talking about NDA? Non-disclosure agreement? It's difficult to see if the camera angle how many Democrats still when Trump S members stand. They finally got to it in the end. We saw that they're almost all were sitting. A police raid in Durban. Yes, well, the police are actually doing raids. Must be people falling on the outs of the ANC. Uncovers suspected drug lab and firearms. 5 suspects were arrested. An alleged drug laboratory has been discovered at a home in Chatsworth. If that's Chatsworth, I didn't see that part of Chatsworth. I'll have to talk to Karu Charu, ask him why he didn't show me that upscale part of Chatsworth. A plush family home in Chatsworth in the south of Durban was raided today and uncovered as an alleged drug laboratory. Police arresting 5 suspects in what authorities believe is a significant breakthrough against a local syndicate. According to sources, the operation forms part of ongoing efforts to dismantle a major drug distribution network operating in Chatsworth. This part of Chatsworth I didn't see. They found numerous firearms inside the house. They haven't disclosed the street value of the drugs or what the drugs are. Well, the government plans to spend 1 trillion rand to meet its big infrastructure goals. Question is, where's that money going to come from and where will it be spent? The National Treasury has announced that 1 trillion rand is expected to be spent over the next 3 years. 300 billion per year. Okay, that's a drop in the bucket. Delivering his 2026 State of the Nation address, President Ramaphosa characterized the allocation largest in the country as more than just brick and mortar. Really. Trix Mostart gave her membership for 8 months. Thank you for that. Very kind of you. I appreciate being a member for 8 months. And Tomahawk just donated for some free Google money by Tic Tac or two. Indeed. Thank you for the 14 rand. Though the infrastructure fund and new regulations for public-private partnerships, we are using through innovative funding models, reducing risk and attracting investors to fast-track projects in energy, water, transport, and digital infrastructure. Bullshit. That's just utter nonsense. Ain't going to happen. Boosting infrastructure investment will spur long-term economic growth by removing constraints in areas such as transport, energy, and water. How about maintenance? Why didn't you just maintain what you had? If you maintain what you had, the country would be in far better shape, let alone building new stuff over the past 32 years. No, you had to steal. You had to fire all the competent people that were doing maintenance and new production design, and then you just stole. The The Agriculture Department is ramping up for the foot and mouth disease fight after the devastation of farmers, the impoverishment of thousands of South Africans, jobs at risk, and Johnny Steenhuisen has kind of got his department years later woken up. Nearly 2 years into his tenure as agriculture minister, Johnny Steenhuisen's department is finally distributing vaccine. The Department of Agriculture began distributing over 1 million vaccine doses with 200,000 allocated to KZN and the Free State. The proactive strategy aims to vaccinate 80% of the national herd by December, with 5 million more doses arriving next month. And I take exception to that article written by Siamanta Kappa. Siamanta Kappa. That's proactive? You honestly think that the Department of Agriculture responding years later is proactive? You need to learn what that word means in the dictionary, or you need to stop taking your talking points to write your stories from the Department of Agriculture, which is lying to you. There's nothing proactive here. This is reactive. This is reactive. John Steenhuisen ignored the ranchers, ignored the farmers, disregarded them, ran around to Vietnam trying to sell stone fruit and crowing about his agreements with China, which was an agreement with all of Africa, not with John Steenhuisen or the Democratic Alliance or the Government of National Unity or the South African government. Poppycock, balderdash, BS, cock, lies. There's nothing proactive about this. This is reactive, and it's devastatingly tardy. Devastatingly tardy, years after the fact. South African farmers have been warning me for 2.5 years that this has become untenable. I reached out to the Ministry of Agriculture in April of 2025 for an interview to discuss this before the media were even really talking. Some media were talking about it, but it wasn't a national crisis in the eyes of the media or the government. I wanted to get the story out there so that people knew what the Ministry of Agriculture was doing so that we could get these cattle vaccinated, we could get this problem solved in April of 2025. His PA arranged an interview. He agreed to come on and then ghosted me. Then I wrote and said, what happened? Oh, a lot happened over the weekend. True, there were events that happened over time, which, to be fair, deserved his attention, not an interview with me. We rescheduled. Ghosted me again. I waited a month. They apologized profusely. She did. And then we rescheduled an interview in May. And then he never showed up again. Why did the Ministry of Agriculture come on a program that's larger than his own political party's channel? I have more viewers than the Democratic Alliance. Yeah, more subscribers than Democratic Alliance. Why didn't he come on my program? Because he had no plan. Because he didn't care about this. Because he ignored it. He was busy currying favor with his friends in the ANC. That's why. Reactive, not proactive. This is a bullshit news story by News 24, a disinformation outlet. Learn how to use the word properly. The vaccine was distributed 70,000 in Gauteng, 100,000 in Mpumalanga, 100,000 Northwest, 50,000 Northern Cape, 150,000 Eastern Cape, 30,000 Western Cape, and 100,000 Limpopo. That looks to me just like a distribution of, well, let's just put X number here, not actually what's needed. Wow. Well, 300,000 grant recipients apparently have been flagged for possible fraud in South Africa. No. Jean-Bobby John just gave 350 Rand. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. 300,000 people committing fraud for SASA grants? No, not possible. Couldn't be true. More than 291,000 social grant beneficiaries have been flagged for benefit reviews as government moves to clamp down on fraud and corruption in its security net. This is according to budget documents presented in Parliament by Enoch Gondwana. Told MPs that South African Social Security Agency would in the coming financial year intensify measures to combat fraud and corruption while ensuring that legitimate beneficiaries are protected. The program has been allocated 448 billion Rand for the coming year. 448 billion Rand. Let's put that in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. 448 billion Rand. Divided by 365 days. That means every single day of the year, 1.23 billion, 1.25 billion Rand every single day. 1, 2, 2, 12 million, 122 million, 1.2, divided by 17. Ladies and gentlemen, that is $72 million a day spent on giving freebies out to South Africans. $72 million a day. $72 million a day given to South Africans every single day of the year who've done nothing to earn it. who've contributed nothing. December 2025, the agency had checked the bank accounts of 6 million clients and 8 million credit card bureaus, and they found 291,581 grant beneficiaries that needed to be reviewed. Yeah. So in order to pay for that $71 million a day they give away free, they want to raise taxes on alcohol by 3.4%. I'm sorry, no, not raise that. That's the inflation forecast. They want to raise taxes. Yeah, okay. Brilliant. Not. Well, Peter Fabricius pens an op-ed in the Daily Maverick, which he claims that Brent Bozell has changed his tune. But I submit to you that this is not exactly entirely intellectually honest. Brent Bozell has not changed any tune. Brent Bozell went to his Senate hearings and said what was necessary to say and what he believed in. Then he came to South Africa and he took a diplomatic tone. There's a very different situation about between being a nominee for an office and then being a person holding the office. He honestly expressed his views and the president's views when he was nominated, and along party lines, he was confirmed to be the ambassador to South Africa. But the role of an ambassador is not to become a torch bearer, to become a petrol bomb thrower. That is not the role. And this is intellectually dishonest in this op-ed to claim these changed his tune. He hasn't changed his tune. That's utter nonsense. This is how it works in diplomacy. In his first remarks, U.S. Ambassador to South Africa emphasizes a positive partnership contrasting with previous criticisms he made about South Africa. No, it doesn't contrast. First off, Brent Bozell made no criticism of South Africa that I'm aware of publicly. He had a Senate confirmation hearing, and he expressed what he was supposed to express there. He wasn't in the media saying bad things about South Africa or good things about South Africa. And the last time he had anything to say about South Africa was 1987, I recall. Or 87. Briefly, for a couple of days, one event. That's the last thing we heard publicly out of Brent Bozell. Yet he was depicted as an anti-South African ambassador. This is just not honest. The new U.S. ambassador to South Africa was upbeat about better relations in his first public remarks. He was markedly more positive than he had been during his confirmation hearings before the Senate, when he focused heavily on President Trump's many grievances against South Africa. Exactly. When he focused on President Trump's many grievances against South Africa. Now, why would Brent Bozell focus on President Trump's grievances? Well, because an ambassador, Daily Maverick, is the personal representative of the President of the United States. And of course he answers questions about what the President's positions are. That's what he's supposed to do. Thank you for your membership, Neil. The U.S. Embassy in Pretoria conveyed Brent Bozell's message to South Africa in a welcome video released the day after he was handed his credentials over to Durko. Sitting next to his wife, Bozell, a conservative commentator and member of one of the U.S.'s most famous conservative families, said it's an honor in a lifetime to represent the United States as ambassador to the Republic of South Africa. My journey has been shaped by profound love of family and wavering commitment to conviction of the United States, leads with clarity and principle. I aim to build a partnership that elevates our shared values, strengthens ties between our peoples, and turns possibility into progress. I look forward to working with South African leaders, innovators, communities, and amplify what is best in both our nations. Yes. Anyway. Though such sentiments are in a sense diplomatic boilerplate, they contrast strongly with his remarks during his confirmation hearings before the U.S. Senate in October last year. Yes, they do. Why? Because in the confirmation hearings, he was being asked to convey the president's position. And would he follow through on the president's desires? And he was honest and said he would. When people based in South Africa believe their private property rights are at risk, when many South Africans feel unsafe in their homes, when rampant corruption and unfair business practices hold back the South African economy, and when South African politicians greet as friends those who seek to destabilize the world's peace and security, then common ground between our two countries feels harder to find. And so I submit to Daily Maverick, what did you expect him to do after receiving his credentials? Stand in a soapbox and accuse South Africa of a genocide? Accuse the ANC leaders of pervasive corruption? Harp on about Pala Pala, digital vibes, the oil gate, arms gate, travel gate, and Nkandla? Did you expect him to talk about fire pools? What exactly were you expecting him to say? He's ambassador. He's supposed to be diplomatic. Those conversations are supposed to happen behind closed doors. I don't understand the confusion here. I really don't understand the confusion. In Tuesday's video, Norma Bozell introduced herself saying, "We are grateful for the opportunity." The real test of Brent Bozell was, after all, supposed to be Trump's eyes and ears around, is whether he will summon the courage to tell his boss he sees no evidence of a genocide or any persecution against white Afrikaners. And see, that's more intellectually dishonest. You don't have to be in South Africa to see persecution against Afrikaners. It's not directed against Afrikaners. It's directed against white South Africans, Indians, and coloreds. 145 race-based laws. So the question I would ask people who write things like this, whether it's Mr. Fabricius, whom I met, who's a fine gentleman, but this is intellectually dishonest. I would ask Peter Bruce. I would ask commentators in South Africa, Rebecca Davies. I would ask all of you, what was your stance during apartheid? Were you opposed to apartheid? Did you think that it was persecution for a minority white government to impose laws that restricted the freedom, the movement, the social interactions, the property ownership, the business opportunities, access to government resources, restricted it to black South Africans? Did you find that morally repugnant? Was that persecution? Because if it was, then what happens to white South Africans, Indians, and coloreds today is also persecution. How you can say that and write that with a straight face and how your publication can carry that is disheartening. It's okay to discriminate against Indians, coloreds, and whites as long as you dress it up as redress, but it was morally bankrupt to do the same thing to black South Africans. The complete lack of objectivity and intellectual honesty here is disappointing, and I'll leave it at that. Any persecution against white Afrikaners? Yes, I'm sorry to inform you, there is persecution against South Africans, and it comes from the government. And if you can't bring yourself to accept the reality, then you're intellectually dishonest. That's not directed at that author. That's directed at anyone who says there is no such thing as persecution. You're delusional or you're just a useful idiot. One of the two. It's as simple as that. There's no confusion here. What I just said is not, so that will be turned into, oh, he's a white supremacist. Oh, he's a racist. No, what did I say? What did I say? Why do the facts hurt people so much? Why does the truth hurt them so much? Why are they so pained when the truth is put in front of them? It was morally repugnant to prevent white and black people from having social relations during apartheid. It was morally repugnant to reserve places for people of different groups on the basis of separate development. Separate development doesn't mean separate accommodation. Separate development means that people advance in their own way, in their own place. And we can argue whether that's morally bankrupt or it's a good idea or not. But the bottom line is that if it was morally repugnant during apartheid to discriminate against black South Africans, it's just as morally repugnant to do it against minorities today. Passengers warned about flying out of Cape Town, where Airports Company South Africa can't even keep the airport from burning up. Delays as the airport seeks to resume operations after a fire there yesterday. Cape Town International Airport operations turning normal following a fire on Tuesday. Travelers should still expect delays. The fire broke out in the international inner lane of the northern service yard. Although it was swiftly extinguished, power across the terminal was temporarily isolated to allow for a thorough safety assessment. Most power and systems have been restored. Some manual processing remains in place. Airports Company South Africa, a state-owned parastatal patronage machine, said that most check-in systems were fully operational. Lift Airlines continues to process passengers manually. The United Kingdom has launched e-visas for South Africans, but don't think you're going to get to UK any easier, folks. South Africans can now apply for e-visas to visit the United Kingdom rather than the traditional stickers that go into your passport. But it won't really affect the process. From February 25th, today, approved visas will no longer be issued with physical stickers. Instead, travelers receive a secure online record of immigration status that can be assessed and shared electronically through a UK visas and immigration account. Unfortunately, that's about all that's going to change. You still need to make in-person appointments and pay 2,730 Rand and 22,803 Rand to now enter for the digital right to enter the country. Wow. So you pay somewhere between 2,700 and 22,000 Rand. Hey, Carol Ann, thank you for the 70 Rand. 22,000 Rand to enter the country? Wow, that's insane. That's insane. So here are the current visa fees to go to the UK. $2,700 for a 6-month visitor visa. I can't get a 6-month visa to go to the UK. I only get 3 months. We only get 3 months. We're not a Commonwealth country. 10,000 for 2 years, 18,000 for 5 years, 22,000 for 10 years. Wow. Wow. That's insane. So you book online, you pay the visa fee, you book an attend appointment at the Visa Application Center, you get fingerprints and a photograph and any supporting documents. Wow. UK, I mean, aren't you part of the Commonwealth? Why are they so unfriendly to you? Well, there goes the Facebook page again. It's going crazy. No trial in sight for perjury accused Makwabene 5 years after the fact. After passage of more than 5 years, the perjury case against former public protector advocate Busisiwe Makwabane has not reached the final trial stage. She's been accused of perjuring herself in an affidavit submitted to court relating to her Bancorp CIEX report. 2017, still not prosecuted. Yeah. Are you counting on her being prosecuted? Don't. Jacob Zuma has set the Stalingrad approach and shows how you win this game. Zimbabwe bans exports of all raw minerals and lithium concentrates. Suspended all raw minerals and lithium concentrates with immediate effect. The government alleged malpractice and leakages. Well, of course there's malpractice in Zimbabwe. What else would there be? Government expects cooperation in the mining industry on this measure, which is taken on in the national interest. Government remains committed to in-country value addition and beneficiation, compliance, accountability, and exportation of Zimbabwe's mineral resources. Yeah, sure. Tell us more. We want to hear more. Oh my goodness, a lot. Zimbabwe. How's Mad Max doing? He's doing fantastic. He's already been in chat since he's been here in the States. He's busy. He's all his appointments in place. I think they have medicals today, if I'm not mistaken, here in the States. So, escalating land conflict is threatening communities near Kinshasa. What? People are fighting over land? I thought only white people stole land. Why? Tensions over land between communities in the Democratic Republic of Congo is gradually morphing into an armed conflict that has reached the outskirts of the capital of Kinshasa. It started with a dispute between tenant farmers and landowners, spread to involve spiritual rituals, and then led to actual fighting with guns and machetes. The conflict in the fertile Beteke Plateau region, 70 kilometers northeast of the DRC capital, has been smoldering for 4 years and has already claimed several thousand lives. But, I thought only evil colonialists stole land. What's going on? How could black people be stealing land from black people? That's not possible. Only evil colonizers, whites. Never mind, the entire planet was colonized by Homo sapiens. People didn't just appear in the Americas, in Siberia, in Australia, in Indonesia, in South Africa, all at once. Not unless the aliens brought us here. Did the aliens bring us here? No. We didn't appear in one place all at once. It wasn't happenstance. Silly buggers. 2 Ugandan women who have been arrested for kissing in public. My goodness. 2 Ugandan women arrested for kissing in public. Uganda has a life imprisonment for consensual same-sex relations. So for kissing in public, they may spend the rest of their lives in prison. Uganda's 2023 Anti-Homosexuality Act imposes penalties up to life imprisonment for consensual same-sex relations, while aggravated homosexuality is punishable by death. The 2 women, both in their 20s, were arrested following complaint from neighbors in Arua, 450 kilometers north of Kampala. They've been held in detention without legal representation since February 18th, a week. Neighbors contacted police complaining that the 2 were practicing homosexuality and were seen kissing each other in public. They had seen many women going into their one-room rented residence and spending nights in what they suspected were same-sex orgies. Oh, my goodness. Human rights advocate Frank Mugisha condemned the arrest on X, calling it underscores the grim reality faced by victims under the anti-gay law. It has fueled a dangerous cycle of blackmail and extortion. Criminals are now using the law as a weapon to prey on the LGBTQ plus community, knowing their victims are too terrified to seek protection. Wow. So, whether you agree with people's sexuality or not, imprisoning people for kissing in public is beyond the pale and wrong. Heidi, thank you for your membership. It's morally bankrupt and wrong. South Sudan's Salva Kiir fires his finance minister 3 months into the job. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir fired Finance Minister Baka Barnoba Chol in a reshuffle. He appointed Salvatore Garang, an economist trained at the University of Khartoum, as new finance minister. Garang previously served as finance minister from 2018 to 2020. Analysts say Kiir regularly makes changes to ranks in the military and government to maintain control as he contends with armed conflict and speculation about his eventual successor. Well, he's dictator for life. The guy has never left since he took over the country in 2014. Over 150 U.S. military aircraft have now flown into Europe and the Middle East as Trump positions for a strike on Iran. The president's U.S. military force in the region is among the largest in more than 2 decades since before the Iraq War in 2003. The buildup comes after President Trump has threatened to attack Iran unless a deal can be reached to restrict Iran's nuclear program. Australia's prime minister had to be evacuated from a residence after a Chinese bomb threat from Shenyang at a Shenyang performance. The bomb threat sent to local presenters said if you insist on proceeding with the performance, then the prime minister's lodge will be blown into ruins. Australia Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was evacuated from his residence in Canberra on the 24th. That's yesterday, following a bomb threat made in Chinese against him and other high-ranking officials. Do the Australians still think it's a good idea to let Chinese enter their country? Do they really? Ahead of the company's Australian tour due to start on February 25th, emails in Chinese sent to local presenters demanded they cancel the shows or face dire consequences. The threat came days before a scheduled performance by New York-based Shenyang Performing Arts, a classical Chinese dance and music company that has been a target of Beijing for years. So, Chinese terrorists are now telling the Australians what they can and can't do. United States military has boarded a third sanctioned oil tanker in the Indian Ocean. Now it's a global effort. Officials said the tanker was tracked from the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean. U.S. military forces boarded a third sanctioned oil tanker in the Indian Ocean after it was tracked around the world. Pentagon stated the U.S. military forces boarded the Bertha vessel overnight without incident, according to a post on X. Video footage included in the post shows military helicopters flying around the vessel. 3 boats ran, and now all 3 have been captured. The Department of War stated the vessel was operating in defiance of President Trump's established quarantine of sanctioned vessels in the Caribbean and attempted to evade. From the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean, we tracked it and stopped it. No other nation has the global reach, endurance, or the will to enforce sanctions at this distance. Yep. Wow, that's some global reach there, folks. China hits Japan with an export ban. Once again, economic warfare from the Chinese communists attacking their neighbors. It's an escalation economic campaign against Japan started after the Prime Minister's comment about Taiwan. China banned the export of critical minerals and other goods with potential military use to several major Japanese companies, further escalating its pressure campaign against Tokyo over remarks Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi made about Taiwan. The new measures announced by China's Commerce Ministry yesterday show Beijing isn't backing down its dispute with Japan, even after Takaichi won a resounding victory in a recent parliamentary election. Ministry said 20 Japanese companies have been added to an export control list that prohibits Chinese firms from selling them dual-use items that could have military applications. Prohibited items include rare earth used in motors and magnets, machine tools, batteries, and chip-making equipment. Wow, the Chinese communists, economic warfare. And nobody in the Western media is calling them out. Where's the New York Times? Where's the Washington Post? Where is the Allgemeine Zeitung? Where is Le Monde? Where are The Guardian calling out this nonsense? Nowhere to be found. Beijing warns Trump not to impose new tariffs and says it will respond fully. So now Beijing has threatened the United States. Well, I think it's time to threaten them back. Thank you, Yaku Boyson, for becoming a member. Appreciate that. China warned the U.S. on Wednesday not to impose new tariffs on its goods as President Trump removes tariffs struck down by the Supreme Court and replaces them with duties that use other legal authorities. The Commerce Ministry in Beijing said it would not hesitate to retaliate. China reserves the right to take all necessary steps to firmly safeguard its legitimate rights and interests. You don't have a legitimate right to tell us how to run our country. Piss off, communist. 101 Chinese People's Liberation Army leaders have been purged in the past 4 years. Today, Xi Jinping is purging an entire generation of officers. This is not a factional struggle, but an assertion of complete control. A new database of the Chinese Communist regime's military purges provides detailed information on more than 100 senior military leaders purged since 2022. Shifting power dynamics inside here. Xi's purges have left a vacuum in PLA leadership. The latest data set shows that 41 out of 47, that's 87% of the PLA's leaders, 3-star generals and admirals, were purged. This includes a vast majority of leaders Xi promoted in 2020 or later, as 32 of 35 of them were investigated and 29 of them purged. The purges impacted 52% of the 176 PLA leadership positions. Wow. And this raises the question, why are they being purged? They're all being accused of corruption, but that means virtually every officer in the Chinese Liberation Army is corrupt. I can't believe that every officer is corrupt. This is political assertion of political control. The United States and South Korea continue with their annual drills in March, despite the North Koreans running their mouths. U.S. and South Korean military said today they will conduct their annual springtime exercise next month to bolster their combined defense capabilities. Freedom Shield drills are set from March 9th to 19th, and watch for North Korea to get angry and probably fire a few missiles over the South China Sea or over the East Sea. Pope Leo visiting Africa, the fastest growing place for Catholics. Number of Roman Catholics is growing faster in Africa than anywhere else. The Vatican announced on Wednesday that Pope Leo XIV would make a 10-day trip to Africa in April, visiting Algeria, Angola, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea, less than a year after he was elected to the papacy. The trip to Africa so early in his tenure appeared to signal the importance of a continent where Roman Catholicism is growing faster than anywhere else. The number of Catholics grew by more than 15 million worldwide between 2022 and 2023, more than half of them in Africa alone. In his first trip to Africa as Pope, he's visited the continent regularly as a leader of the Augustinian order from 2001-2013. So Africa's Roman Catholics are getting more attention from the Pope. Interesting. The American Pope is the one going. Well, the director of the Louvre has finally resigned months later. Laurence de Carrère's departure is the latest setback for the world's largest museum. Her tenure was marred by labor strikes, water leaks, a ticket scam, and security lapses. How is that the world's largest museum? I've been to the Louvre. It's tiny. The Smithsonian has acres more of display than this does. Laurence de Carrère, the first female president of the Louvre, and that was a mistake, DEI hire, resigned Tuesday less than 5 months after an audacious theft raised thorny questions about security in one of the world's most famous museums. Yep. The president's office said in a statement that Mr. Macron had accepted Ms. de Carrère's resignation as an act of responsibility. Time of the world's largest museum needs to be stability and new impetus. What is this largest museum nonsense? I've been there. It's tiny. There's almost nothing in it. Russia is looking at getting rid of Telegram, which is ironic because it's founded by a Russian. Claim it's being used for terrorism. Russia is intensifying efforts to push users away from foreign messaging apps and toward a domestic platform. How can you call Telegram a foreign app? It's founded by a Russian, Pavel Durov. Oh my goodness. I guess because he's based in the Middle East. Durov started Telegram in 2013, portraying the app as a privacy-focused alternative to state-controlled platforms. He announced his departure from Russia next year after saying the Kremlin had forced him to sell his stake in VK, the country's largest social network, and Durov's first big IT success. He's since acquired French and Emirati citizenship. Yep. Articles published yesterday in Russian media accused Telegram of complying with requests from Western governments while ignoring those from Russian authorities, alleged that Ukraine had used data obtained through the platform to carry out attacks inside Russia. Maybe they have. Maybe they haven't. Germany is warning the Chinese. Ooh, play nice. Friedrich Merz laid out his complaints in a frank message to his host on a trip to Beijing. Yes. Merz, who took pains before the trip, said that he would not be lecturing Beijing, laid out his critiques in a speech at a meeting of the Advisory Council of German-Chinese Business to an audience included Premier Li Kang, the second highest-ranking official. He was more blunt, more specific in his criticism than other Western leaders, including the prime ministers of Britain and Ken, who went there to lick the boots and rectum of the Chinese leaders. They recently went there and kowtowed before the Chinese, showing their subservience to their Chinese overlords, Keir Starmer and his idiot from Canada. Merz called on China to reduce subsidies for its domestic manufacturers, allow its currency to float, the renminbi to strengthen, and to ensure continued exports of raw materials, all of which could benefit German industry. He said, we'll have tighter bonds if we do that. But the Chinese won't be able to fleece the world of all its money and wealth if they let you have a fair marketplace. Come on, Friedrich, what do you think you're talking about here? You're talking to communists, you dummy. Ukraine has blocked Europe's effort to aid, Hungary blocks Europe's effort to aid Ukraine. The EU failed in its bid to give more money to fuel the war in Ukraine. Hungary's veto over European funding could constrain Ukraine's ability to fund its army and weaken its hand in the U.S. talks with Russia over the war. Yes, Hungary, an equal member of the European Union, has stopped this continual effort by the European Union to fuel a war for a non-EU member. Why is the European Union so obsessed with funding a war in Ukraine over a non-EU member? Yeah, Matt's just unshets. That's great. Columbia Brain Institute leader resigns. I apologize for compromising the trust of my friends, students, and colleagues, said Dr. Richard Axel. Yes, here he got the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2004. The head of Columbia University's Brain Institute is resigning after new released emails showed he maintained a friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Dr. Richard Axel, a Nobel laureate, said in February 24th statement he's stepping down from his position as co-director of the Zuckerman Mind-Brain Behavior Institute at Columbia University, resigning from his role as investigator at Columbia's Howard Hughes Medical Center. My past association with Jeffrey Epstein was a serious error in judgment, which I deeply regret, said the 79-year-old retard. I apologize for compromising the trust of my friends, students, and colleagues. I recognize the problems he's caused, and I will work to restore this trust. What has emerged about Epstein's appalling conduct, the harm he's caused to so many people, makes my association with him all the more painful and inexcusable. He won the Nobel Prize in 2004, along with another scientist, for identifying genes in DNA that encode the odorant receptors in noses. He's been at Columbia for 53 years. 53 years. And how long has he been a pervert? All of those 53 years? Who knows? Uneasy Calm returns to Mexico after the killing of El Mencho. Relative calm is gradually returning to Mexico today after the killing of drug lord El Mencho released a wave of cartel violence. President Claudia Sheinbaum said that they're restoring order. Today there was no school, but tomorrow activities will return to normal. She also complained about AI fueling hysteria. Yes, we covered the events and we showed some of those videos, but I watched this New York Times thing where they showed all these AI-generated images, none of which I saw, and she claimed that that created hysteria. Well, I don't think so, sweetheart. You lost control of your country. Just be honest about it. You have no control of Mexico. Mexico's Sheinbaum weighs legal action after Elon Musk alleges cartel ties. She said lawyers are reviewing options after Musk claimed she was saying what her cartel bosses tell her to say. Speaking at a news conference yesterday, we're considering whether to take some legal action. Lawyers are looking into it, but what matters to me is what the people say, honestly. In his post, Musk responded to a 2025 video of Sheinbaum discussing cartel violence, saying that returning to war against cartels is not an option because it will mean extrajudicial killings that are outside the framework of law. She added the military force against cartels would also be counterproductive because it would trigger retaliatory violence that would only increase homicides. Responding to those remarks, he said, Musk said she was saying what her cartel bosses told her to say. Let's just say that their punishment for disobedience is a little worse than a performance improvement plan. I guess people don't get hyperbole. Well, Mexico's cartels, where are they in control? Crime syndicates in the states of Sinaloa and Jalisco have expanded their territory. Let's take a look. These are places where they have presence. They're present in all but one of the territories of the states of Mexico. Every state but one. They have a high presence in the center of the country. In Hidalgo, Veracruz, Puebla, Guanajuato, Jalisco, and Nayarit, as well as Colima. Yeah, so they're everywhere. They control much of the country. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney pledges $2 billion in military aid for Ukraine on the 4th anniversary of the war. So the Canadians continuing to fuel the meat grinder and the death of an entire generation of Ukrainian men. Canada's committed more than $25 billion to assist Ukraine since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in 2022. Could you imagine if Canada spent that $25 billion on its own defense? If it spent that $25 billion on keeping its roads functioning, the $25 billion on building icebreakers to patrol the Arctic Sea, if they spent $25 billion paying down debt, wouldn't that be something? No, they've given Ukraine $25 billion to prosecute a war that Volodymyr Zelensky is responsible for precipitating in his behavior with Vladimir Putin. Trump puts on a show, casting Democrats as the villains. On the defensive over the economy, no he wasn't, And with the midterms approaching, President Trump made clear that his political strategy is to paint Democrats as unpatriotic and crazy. Well, that's because they are. That's exactly what they are. It was a spectacle as survival strategy. That's a funny approach there, Katie Rogers. In his state, is this news or it's listed as news? Oh, no, it says analysis. Okay, news analysis. It's opinion. In his State of the Union address, President Trump didn't bother to introduce a raft of new policies. Unusual midterm. Really? Really? He didn't unveil new policies? What planet is she on? I'm going to go through in a moment some of the policies that Trump announced last night. He didn't announce new policies? Of course he did. A whole bunch of them, at least 8 of them. Affordability, said, was part of a dirty, rotten lie perpetrated by Democrats. Exactly, because they're the ones that made the country unaffordable. And now they're trying to blame Trump for it. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy, Trump said. And he's right. Boy, oh boy, we're lucky to have a country with people like this. Democrats destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time. Yep, Trump was 100% correct. And here are some of the takeaways of what Trump had to say in his speech. President unveiled new policies, contrary to Katie Rogers' lies in the New York Times op-ed piece, including a retirement program proposal, lower energy cost tied to data centers, and a task force to combat fraud. Trump's speech focused in part in bettering Americans' financial situation through new policies on retirement accounts and home ownership. Next year, my administration will give these often forgotten American workers, great people, and people build our country, access to the same type of retirement plan that's offered to every federal employee, with up to $1,000 a year in matching contributions. Wow. 56 million workers currently have no employer-sponsored retirement plan. They got to do it all on their own. Mortgage rates are the lowest in 4 years and falling fast, he said. The average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is around 6%, down from 7% when Trump took office. Data center, energy deal. He's giving the authority for these big tech firms to build their own power plants so that they don't suck up all the energy that residential users are using. So look at that. That's Amazon Web Services data center in Virginia, right next to a residential area, sucking up all that power. Also highlighted the men's hockey team, and he said the women will be coming to the White House for a visit. Gave the Legion of Merit to U.S. Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin, who rescued 165 people, including that little girl next to him in Texas flooding last year. There's a World War II veteran to the left of him right there. Medal of Honor for the pilot who flew the Chinook in and his leg was shattered by machine gun fire. Also, Medal of Honor to Navy pilot Royce Williams for downing 4 Soviet fighters in a 1952 aerial battle during the Korean War. Democrats withheld their applause. When they stayed seated, Trump tried to he called them out, and it was hilarious. They did stand and applaud when Trump said they voted against his tax cut spending bill last year. Yeah, because they hate tax cuts that make Americans richer. They don't want people to succeed. So they stood for that. Lots of guests. Pennsylvania mother of 2, Megan Hemhauser, a bartender who homeschools her children, had her tax bill cut more than half by Trump's economic policies. Yep. Trump talked about tariffs. He also highlighted Michael Dell's $6 billion contribution to fund Trump accounts for kids. And he said Vice President Vance will lead a new fraud task force after what happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's leading a fraud task force. And he backs a bill banning congressional stock trading. And he called out Nancy Pelosi. That was funny. No new policies. There are several new policies there. I think that Ms. Rogers is taking a piss. Even the Washington Post says Trump said a few things. They claim that he touched on potential conflict with Iran, which he did briefly. He was defensive of many issues where he's unpopular. I disagree with that. Wasn't defensive at all. And he said Democratic opposition was varied. Yes, it was. Al Green, he's a skanky, nasty bastard. He was escorted out after holding up a sign. Here are the 2 disgraceful excuses for American citizens. One, born here to the parents of Palestinians that we let grow up in this country. She's a filthy piece of human sludge. And the other, a immigrant of suspicious, dubious origin from Somalia. And nothing much is going to change. Yep. Trump hails his economic turnaround which the Wall Street Journal says many voters don't see. Well, I don't know who those voters are. What planet are they living in? Things are getting demonstrably better in this country. At the core of Trump's State of the Union address was a calculation that can persuade America's economy is in better shape than many think it is in touting a turnaround. Well, look, if people are stupid, people are stupid. I mean, I saw the poll. It said that 60% of Americans are dissatisfied with Trump's approach to inflation. Really? Inflation isn't at 10%. It's at 2.6% under Trump. It's already lower than it was when he came in office. Insane how stupid people can be. So I really don't care what they say. And then Trump just put the Democrats in a box with just one phrase. Stand up. With one maneuver, Trump tries to box in Democrats, and he succeeded. He succeeded. President Trump turned his State of the Union address into full-blown political theater, handing out medals to war veterans and tossing the spotlight to ice hockey players. Oh, wow. Handing out medals to war veterans. Wow. Wow, what a snarky thing to say. Almost an hour into his speech, Trump set his trap. One of the great things about the State of the Union, he said, is how it gives Americans a chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. That was brilliant. The Democrats, the ones who bothered to show up anyway, stirred a little in their seats. What was he up to now? Tonight, I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. That should be something everyone in South African Parliament stands up for, South African citizens. That's something everyone in Belgium stands up for, so everyone in the United States should stand up for, but not the Democrats. Democratic lawmakers stayed in their seats. This was obviously what Mr. Trump was hoping might happen. You should be ashamed of yourself, not standing up, he pronounced. The Republican side of the room erupted on cue. The architect of Mr. Trump's aggressive immigration policy, Stephen Miller, made it clear that the night's performance had been built around this moment. Zero Democrats stood for the foundational principle of all government that leaders must serve citizens before invaders. Never has there been a more stunning moment in Congress. With one maneuver, Trump divided the room, asking viewers to see the two camps as he saw them. There were good Americans and were those willing to jeopardize the country's security. The president's point changed the energy inside the House chamber. At that point, what had been mostly a dutiful State of the Union address morphed into a full-blown political theater. It was part of a game show, part cage match, which is just how Trump likes it. When he wasn't handing out medals to war veterans or tossing the spotlight on the hockey team and victims of violent crimes perpetrated by immigrants, the president was slamming the Democrats as sick, America-hating, election-meddling thieves. Well, he got it right. He got it right. He got it right. What's the problem? The Democrats say that the Americans didn't hear the truth in the State of the Union. Oh, we heard the truth. We heard the truth. You just don't like the truth. Dozens of Democrats skipped the event. Others left during the speech. Representative Al Green held up a sign. This disgusting piece of human sludge. Al Green. Where's he at? I think I have that picture somewhere. Where is it at? Do I have that picture here? I thought I had that picture. Oh, there it is. Here's Al Green. This guy's just a piece of human sludge. He's such a disgraceful race baiter. There he is. No, Al, black people aren't apes, but dipshits like you have the brain capacity of piss ants. You're a disgraceful human being, and any moron that votes you for an office ought to be ashamed of themselves. They call themselves an American. You're just a race-hustling race baiter. Shame on you. Trump awards a Medal of Honor to 2 pilots. In a historic first, President Trump used his State of the Union address as an opportunity to award the highest military valor, Medal of Honor. He recognized not 1 but 2 veterans of military aviation, Army Chief Warrant Officer 5 Eric Slover and retired Navy fighter pilot Royce Williams. Slover piloted a CH-47 into Venezuela. He was hit and wounded. Williams flew an F-9F Panther during a lengthy dogfight against multiple Soviet MiG-15 fighters during a mission near North Korea in 1952. There is Warrant Officer Slover. And there's a Grumman F-9F Panther fighter jet from 1950, the same type that the Navy aviator flew in North Korea, shooting down Soviet jets. Republicans unveil a bill to block. Get this. They have to write a law to block illegal immigrants from being law enforcement officers. How in the hell does that happen? Republicans unveil a bill to block illegal immigrants from becoming armed police. As they struggle to fill their ranks and amid a backlash of the blues, some local police departments turn to an unorthodox source. Illegal immigrants. including those in the Obama-era DACA program who've been issued badges and guns and sent into communities. It turns out that although federal law generally bans illegal immigrants from possessing guns, it contains a quirky exception that allows them to carry firearms issued by a government agency. Congressional Republicans say it's time to close that loophole. Illegal aliens have no Second Amendment rights. It's irresponsible for police departments to arm illegal aliens that have blatantly ignored our immigration laws with firearms and ammunition, let alone on the taxpayer's dime. Illegal aliens do not have the right to possess firearms or ammunition in America. Stop Illegal Aliens Cops Act. We have to have a law to say that criminals shouldn't have firearms? It's insane. And finally today, Bill Gates is apologizing. Bill Gates apologized to foundation staff over Epstein ties. The billionaire admits he had 2 affairs and opens up about his mistake in associating with a sex offender. I don't care about your affairs, buddy. Bill Gates apologized to staff of the Gates Foundation over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. In a town hall meeting, the Microsoft co-founder acknowledged that he had 2 affairs with Russian women that Epstein later discovered, but that they didn't involve Epstein's victims. I did nothing illicit. I saw nothing illicit. Gates said images in the recently released Epstein files showed him with women whose faces were redacted, were pictures that Epstein asked him to take with Epstein's assistants after their meetings. To be clear, I never spent any time with victims, the women around him. It's a huge mistake to spend time with Epstein. I apologize to the other people who are drawn into this because of the mistake I made. Yeah. Knowing what I now know, 100 times worse in terms of not only his crimes of the past, but now it's clear that what's going on, bad behavior. Speaking of his ex-wife, he added, to give her credit, she was always kind of skeptical about the Epstein thing. Yeah, I'm sorry. You people knew what was going on. You people knew what was going on. Stop lying, Bill Gates. What a scumbag. Hey, pissed off. How's it going? I'd like to hear your take on bro-oligarchy, top 4. What do you mean? Bro-oligarchy? Is that what you're trying to say? Bro-oligarchy? Yep. I will watch the live tomorrow. It sounds like the demons rats are headed for the drains. Okay? Yeah, I wonder how many illegal alien saps have employed. Yeah, walking out is very disrespectful, Rudolph, but that's what the Democrats do. That's who they are. That's who they are. She is filthy. 100% correct, Colonel. Who is filthy? What was that? 2-factor authentication. Yeah, it's a good idea. My Twitter account was hijacked. I managed to get it back, and it wasn't easy. Yep. Canada's fast-tracking foreign soldiers from India and China to fill their... Yeah, I read about that. Real Canadians won't join, and they're bringing in mercenaries. They are a threat to America. Yes, they're becoming a threat to America. I agree. Yep. Messaging friends, asking friends, saying stuck on the road. It was not me. Yeah, that's what they do, Debbie. Hey, Joe. Vodacom number for 25 years ported by a hacker. Telegram was hacked 2 days ago, and a way to recover my account. WhatsApp is more secure. I don't know about that, Cecilia. I don't know about that. Yes, China and Iran are paper tigers. I recognized it a long time ago. I've been calling them out for years. 4 lives behind. Wow, okay, I think you're catching up. I saw a meme, Back to the Future. I bet they have flying cars in 4 years. Meanwhile, Pizza Box in 2026 has labels staying open the box before eating the pizza. And when you buy electronics, they have that this desiccating stuff in there, the little crystals that suck up all the moisture, and says, don't eat this. Stupid people should wear signs. Neon bright so we don't find a way to avoid their tangled mess. Do more, say less. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Save me from your twisted line. Oh my goodness. Last year in Zimbabwe was you can buy rats. Oh, I never heard about that. Prince William blasted Starmer, stating that he cannot remain silent while citizens suffer needlessly. Well, what took so long? Mad Max is doing fine. Pat says there are talks in Tongat Sugar the company might seize and expropriate the company, rebrand it. Well, they can, and whoop-de-doo, it'll fail. Everything that the government of South Africa touches fails. 5K for a visa in 2015. Yeah, the government of UK is fleecing visitors to the country. People are going to stop coming to the country. It's just becoming so ridiculous. Police, so race and politics fatigue. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Benny Standard, just go to the banks. They offer the services. You don't need the government to tell you which ones do it. Just ask them. I think FNB is one of them that does it. Just go to the bank. Just go to the bank. Yep. Yeah, it is a good song. Wear a sign. Sign of the times, man. Signs of the times. Yeah, that's the song.
Stupid people should wear signs, neon bright, so we can find a way to dodge their tangled mess, avoid their chaos more, say less. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Ooh. Save me from your twisted line. Ooh. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Nada, nada, don't waste your time.
Reddick, 47 months.
Politicians dance and spin, blatant lies with a practiced grin. Blame the moon, blame the stars, blame the traffic or faulty cars. You think they're 6, not 35, playing games to stay alive. Wear a sign, wear a sign.
Don't waste your time.
Celebrities with tails so tall. Lost my yacht, it's so small. It's hard being rich, don't you see? You're living in your fantasy.
James DeWall wants to know why the military brass didn't stand up and applaud like the rest of people. Because it's inappropriate. What is being said there is political. The role of the military is to be apolitical. It is inappropriate and I believe violates policy for the chairman and the joint staff to stand up. So that is why they did not stand up. The only time you saw them standing up is when the recognition for the service members. I didn't see whether they stood for the hockey team. I don't think they did. The only time I saw them stand was when they stood for the presentation of the Legion of Merit, the Congressional Medal of Honor twice. That's why. James, did that answer your question? No, and I agree. They shouldn't be standing. Same with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court did not stand, and they should not be standing. I've seen them stand in the past, but they shouldn't be standing. The only time the Supreme Court should be standing is when the president enters as a sign of respect. But they should not be standing when the president, whether it's Biden, Trump, Obama, Bush, whoever it is, when they're giving a political speech, which is what the State of the Union is. It's political speech. So it's perfectly fine for the military not to stand. They should be. And they should be showing no emotion. And the photographs I've seen, and I watched them all, they're showing no emotion. Told travel date is within days. However, travel date is, what's your advice? Well, my advice is to listen to the things I say, Elsie Peters. I've told people thousands of times that what you've been told is, what do you mean your travel date was within days? No one gets told your travel date was within days unless you had a ticket. Did you have a ticket? That's different. Please clarify that. My answer will be different if you had a ticket. If you were told be prepared to leave in 2 to 4 weeks, you were not given a travel date. You were told to be prepared in 2 to 4 weeks that you might be called on. But that might be 2 to 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months. It's not a call. Thank you, Anne Marie. first F1 race in Vegas. When is that? I'll be in Las Vegas 27 March. Is that then? Neighbor just got picked up with an ambulance. She's white. I hope she's not. I'm not next. What do you mean picked up with an ambulance? What happened to her, Andrews? Oh, the news is over, Ewan. The news is over. We did the news. Sorry, that's clear. The person waited patiently. But yeah, I just ignore them now, and we give people timeouts. They're asking stuff. I can't follow instructions. But LZ Peters waited until the news was over. So that's not. Entrance fee for you, Visa UK is similar to the $40 you have to pay. No, it's not. No, it's not, Fleshin. No, it's not. 22,000 Rand is not $40, brother. Nice try. Nice try. Not even close. Not even close. Not even close. Nope. Nope. Not even close. Nope. 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 Nice try. 22,000 Rand for a 10-year visa. 1,200 Rand a year. No. That's more than double what we pay. Yeah, no, it's etiquette. It's inappropriate for the military to be standing up and applauding when the president's attacking the Democrats. I would laugh now that I'm retired, but it's inappropriate. Okay, I've never heard anyone ever being told your travel date will be as early as next week. That's not how it's done. Who did you get that from, Elsie? People are told be prepared 2 to 4 weeks. Never heard of such a thing before. But I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm certainly not calling you a liar. All kinds of strange things have happened in this program, but I don't know a single person that's ever told me that's the case. Never seen an email that indicated that. Need a good song. Surprised we don't need passport to get past the Louis Bote Louis Bote Airport. What? That doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, no, Elsie, I'm not sure about that. Were you asking? So my advice to you is that you're not leaving in those dates. And frankly, I don't guess you're not keeping up with current events. Nobody's leaving right now. The program has been paused. From 23 February until 9 March, no one is flying out of South Africa, according to the U.S. government, while they review operational issues with the program. So no one's coming. Then presumably, hopefully, the people that have been ignored since last year and those who had their tickets canceled in September and October and those that had their tickets canceled in January will go first. And then the people that just had to wait for 15 days will go, presumably. I will be going live with Ronaldo, but late. He told me he was coming at 1 o'clock. So let me see if that's still true. That's why I started my program later. Yep, no, he asked to start at 8 p.m. So that's 1 o'clock my time. So. Yep, Mad Hatter, I think it is worth the wait. Although for the people who had their tickets canceled, it sucks. They should have not issued any more tickets and then done the pause. That's what they should have done. They should have done, the people who were coming through those dates should have kept their tickets. Then they should have said, effective, they should stop scheduling people to leave. Effective this date, for X number of days, there'll be a pause in the program. That's what they should have done. But they didn't do that. Yeah, the 100-year-old veteran at the stadium, well, the 200-year-olds. They were 200-year-olds. The guy who was the pilot and then the guy who was in the Philippines. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's an email saying get ready in 2 to 4 weeks. So I'm not sure what else he's talking about. I haven't seen that. Elsie, I mean, if you could share with us, let us know what's going on because I've never seen that. Yep. Need a good song? Well, let's do a good song. Let's do that. Let me do this one here. This one's always fun. Here we go. This was fun. This one's from last year. It's a short one. It's a good song. Oh, you like my commentary in 6 minutes? Thank you. The racist didn't like it.
Wyatt's got a plan so sweet. A meet and greet down Strand's wide street. South African sun kissed the air so bright. We shared our stories through the night. Dozens gathered hearts in sync. With every smile the spirits linked. A room of faces worlds apart. Bound by camaraderie, heart to heart. Cheers in the air, laughter grows. Friendship's tide, it ebbs and flows, strand lit up like golden beams, a night that turns into sweet dreams. The evening hung with fire and glee, connections blooming wild and free. Words were sparks igniting light underneath the southern sky tonight. Oh, the beauty, unforgettable glow of strangers and friends we didn't know, tying threads that'll last and weave, moments shared with hearts on sleeves. Cheers in the air, laughter glows, friendship's tide, it ebbs and flows, strand lit up like golden beams, a night that turns into sweet dreams.
Feel free to subscribe to my Facebook page. The link is pinned at the top. The audience gets big enough, I'll put unique content there as well. Strand meet and greet. That was epic. Brought me to tears, folks. That was unbelievable. I'll never forget that night. I'll never forget Opie Plus. I'll never forget any of those nights, but that one was pretty cool. Yes, that's right. That was something else, man, I'm telling you. Yeah, let's see if this is the right one. I'm looking to make sure we got the right one. Oh, here, let's play this. You guys like this one. Debbie, enjoy the music. Thank you, Debbie. Confused about since January 12th, no ticket. No, unfortunately, else there's nothing you can do. You're in the queue. You've been approved. When they get to you, they'll get to you. I mean, doesn't sound like very, very helpful, but that's the reality. Look at people signing up for it. Okay, it's time for our friend, the Bugger Off Bunny. The Bugger Off Bunny. Yeah, there's nothing you can do, Elsie. I can say you won't be forgotten, and I hope that's the case, but I mean, that's all we can possibly say. It's time for the Bugger Off Bunny, folks. Yeah, Bob is back.
Yeah, go on by, say whatever. Hop to the left, Bunny's on the scene. First so clean, move sharp, he's mean. Eyes like fire, trolls start to quake. Mess with the bunny, big mistake. Bugger off, bunny, protector of peace. Jumping through the chaos, never on a leash. Trolls come lurking, but they can't pretend. The bunny's here and it's the bitter end. Bugger off, bunny, protector of peace. Jumping through the chaos, never on a leash. Trolls come lurking, but they can't pretend. The bunny's here and it's the bitter end. Connell's right hand and ears standing tall. One thumb from the foot sends him through the wall. Carrots in the pocket, wisdom in his paw. Trolls see the bunny, drop their jaw. Bounce, 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 the rhythm don't stop. Trolls try to climb, but the bunny's on top. Guarded the garden, defender of the land. The Bugger Off Bunny with the master plan. Bugger Off Bunny. Jumping through the chaos, never on a leash. Trolls come lurking, but they can't pretend. The bunny's here and it's the bitter end. Swift as a shadow, silent in the night. Trolls meet the bunny, then they take flight. Ears like antennas, catching every sound. The Bugger Off Bunny, king of the ground.
We all need a little break every now and then. Lighten up. I see people fleeing the scene. That's okay. Enjoy the music for those who stay. It's the Bugger Off Bunny. Bob is back on the scene right here on Radio Afterlife. You're listening to the tunes and vibes of DJ Silver Eagle on Radio Afterlife. The Bugger Off Bunny. Yeah, I love the Bugger Off Bunny. And now one of my absolute favorite songs that I crafted, produced on Suno, DJ Silver Eagle bringing you the tunes the most. The pot boils over, ladies and gentlemen. Reference to Cyril Ramaphosa talking about South Africans, how we'll boil the pot, and the frog just won't know that they're being boiled alive.
The water's rising slow and hot. The frog's still dreaming in the pot. Steam whispers secrets to the air. Do you jump or do you dare? Tick tock, the heat won't stop. The lid shakes like it's gonna pop. The pot boils over again. Pressure rising, no way to pretend you can stay or leap. Take your shot. The pot boils over, like it or not. Cyril's cards fell just as planned. He dealt the aces, played his hand, but the crowd's awake, their voices loud. A restless wave, a roaring crowd. Tick tock, the time runs thin. Boiling point, it's sink or swim. The pot boils over again. Pressure rising, no way to pretend you can stay or leap. Take your shot. The pot boils over, like it or not. Pot boils over. Pot boils over, like it or not. Pot boils over again. Pressure rising, no way to pretend you can stay or leap. Take your shot. The pot boils over, like it or not. Pot boils over. 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 Pot boils over.
Pop Boils Over on DJ Silver Eagle. Radio Afterlife. Gonna change it up a little bit right here now. One of my favorites. Make sure I got the right one downloaded here. Let's get this one going, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Viceroy of Greenland.
The Viceroy of Greenland. First came the Dorset, ghosts of the frost, o'er Baffin Bay where the sunlight is lost. They carved out a life on the edge of the world before the red banners of Vikings unfurled. Then Eric, the outcast with fire in his eye, fled Iceland's cold judgment for a new northern sky. 25 long ships set sail for the west, but the hammer of Neptune put them to the test. 11 were swallowed by the salt and the foam. 14 survived to find a new home. Oh, the ice is a kingdom, the tundra is gold, a saga of iron, a story of old. From the eastern heart to the western shore, the Norsemen are rising to conquer once more. Through the mist and the thunder, the prophecy seen. All hail
The Viceroy of Greenland.
hail the Viceroy of Greenland. 600 farms in a warm epoch's light. 10,000 Norsemen prepared for the fight. From middle to western, the settlements grew under a sky of a cold, brilliant blue. But the Thule arrived like a wave from the west. Ancestors of Inuit put to the quest. In a single great surge from the north to the south, they took the cold land from the dragon's own mouth. The Norsemen vanished, the Thule remained. Then the Danes took the coast and the Inuit chained. But when Nazis loomed and the Danes gave away, the eagles of liberty entered the fray. Stars and the stripes over glacier and peak, the giants are waking, the masters are weak. The 47th rose with a plan in his hand. He looked to the north at the great frozen land. I'll buy it with silver, the president cried. But the Danes in their towers, they laughed in their pride. He returned in his glory with a vow and a blade. By gold or by iron, the deal shall be made. Who shall I send to the fjord and the snow? Who is the hero to make the land grow? Oh, the ice is a kingdom, the tundra is gold. A saga of iron, a story of old. From the eastern heart to the western shore, the Norsemen are rising to conquer once more. Through the mist and the thunder, the prophecy seen. All hail the Viceroy of Greenland. Oh, and the will of the storm, the American empire begins to take form. Chris is running the show. Chris is running the
Huh. That'll wear you out. Well, you're listening to Radio Afterlife with DJ Silver Eagle. Debbie Ackerman says, Lekker, Cornel. Geniet die muziek, die maakt my dag. Well, I'm glad to hear that it made your day. Fantastic. We'll continue to make your day as we wait for Ronaldo to show up for the other program. Ladies and gentlemen, we shift now gears. For years, South African racists have been attacking poor Jan van Riebeck, blaming him for all the woes of the country. Of course, he's responsible for load shedding and for apartheid and for all the woes that befell South Africa's ANC government. Jan. But we're trading in the Jan card, folks. We're trading the Jan card for a Trump card. That's right. We've got it in Afrikaans. We've got an English version. We're going to play the English version. It's time to trade in the Jan card. Today is Jan van Riebeck Liberation Day. We no longer blame Jan for all of South Africa's ills. Now it's all the Don's fault. Donald Trump is responsible for all the misery.
Setting up shop on a Cape Town street. The ANC had a favorite line: if things go wrong, it's a handmade design. From the Goonie trek to the winner's parade, every single debt was a price Jan paid. Oh, the history books are getting a rest. We found a new guy to put to the test. Put away the portrait, stole the old quill. There's a brand new villain for the political bill. We're trading in the Jan card for a Trump card. It's a shiny new way to play the blame game hard. Is the power going out? Is the road full of holes? Don't look at the budget or the voter polls. Just flip that card. See the golden hair. The Don's the reason for the wear and tear. Yeah, we're trading in the Jan card. today. The infrastructure's crumbling, the taps are running dry, but don't ask how and don't ask why. Forget the years of the same old crew. The orange man in DC is coming for you. Inequality's rising, it's a Mar-a-Lago plot. He's so mean and evil, believe it or not. The original gangster is out of the door, cause Jan Van Riebeek isn't trendy no more. He's the new scapegoat, the fresh alibi. Whether the promises turn to a lie. America's mean, the world is so cold. It's the greatest story that's ever been told. Get your card, play your part, get host. Just flip that card, see the golden hair. The dawn's the reason for the wear and tear. Yeah, we're trading in the yen card for a trump card today. Bye-bye, Jan. See you later. Hello, Don. You're the hater. It's all his fault now. Every single bit of it. Check the card, baby.
DJ Silver Eagle on Radio Afterlife, follow-up of our news program today, waiting for Ronaldo to show up at his place. Ladies and gentlemen, I have cautioned, I have warned, I have admonished the South Africans who wish to participate in the refugee program that my yard is not the place for your FEMA tent. Some of them do not listen. I've had to chase refugees off my property several times thus far, and it's only getting worse. The more of you that come over here, the more of you intrude onto my property and try to set up your FEMA tents. I warned people, we had tents behind the house, and when the snow fell off the solar panels 2 weeks ago, their tents were crushed. Do not put your FEMA tent on my lawn. Stay off my lawn. DJ Silver Eagles in the house on Radio Afterlife. Stay off my lawn.
Stay off my lawn, it's not a campsite. No FEMA tents, no late night fights. No refugees, no wild parades. This castle's mine, no renegades. Hit the road, Jack, don't spin me tail. Your liberty's lost like rusty nails. Stay off my lawn, keep it moving, keep it gone. No flags, no biltong. No fires, no song. Sorry, not sorry, stay off my lawn. Keep it moving, keep it gone. No flags, no biltong. No fires, no song. Sorry, not sorry, stay off my lawn. Lie, lawn, lawn, lawn. Sorry, not sorry, stay off my lawn, lawn, lawn. Drying laundry on my hedge fence. Drawing crowds with your nonsense. This ain't a stage, it's my domain. Take your drama down the lane. Pitch a tent where the shadows fall. Not on my grass, not by my wall. No soapbox speeches, no rally calls. This yard's a fortress you can't install. Stay off my lawn, keep it moving, keep it gone. No flags, no biltong. No fires, no song. Sorry, not sorry, stay off my lawn. Keep it moving, keep it gone. No flags, no biltong. No fires, no song. Sorry, not sorry, stay off my lawn. My lawn, my lawn. Sorry, not sorry, song. Sorry, not sorry, stay off my lawn, my lawn, my lawn. Sorry, not sorry, off my lawn, my lawn. Lawn, my lawn, my lawn. Sorry, not sorry, off my lawn, my lawn.
Ah, yeah, man, stay off my lawn. No, sir. Yes, Mark Myberg, a little bit of the ganja in my soul, no doubt about it. Been a huge reggae fan since way, way, way back. Folks, that was Stay Off My Lawn. You know, with all of the trolls, all the crazy lunatics, the people who call me 87 times in an hour expecting me to answer the phone, the people who send me 1,000 email messages, the people who constantly look for attention, the people who write nasty things about me, the trolls. Sometimes I think I'm listening to the voices in my head right here on DJ Silver Eagle, Radio Afterlife. The voices in my head. Do you ever feel like this? Do you have voices in your head? Sometimes I feel like this.
The voices whisper, soft as rain. Each one dances in my brain. Am I crazy or just free? Tell me now, what do you see? It's getting crowded in my head. Oh yeah. They laugh, they sing, they paint it red. Am I alright? You tell me, please. But I feel fine, just swaying in the breeze. They chat at dawn, they hum at night. Their jokes give me a strange delight. Are they me or someone new? Questions bounce like a kangaroo. Oh, it's getting crowded in my head. Oh yeah, they laugh, they sing, they paint it red. Am I alright? You tell me, please. But I feel fine, just swaying in the breeze. Trumpets play a golden sound. They echo deep, they spin around. Voices dance a reggae beat. In my head they find their seat. It's getting crowded in my head. Oh yeah. They laugh, they sing, they paint it red. Am I alright? You tell me, please. But I feel fine, just swaying in the breeze.
It's getting so crowded in my head. Radio Afterlife waiting for Ronaldo to show up here, folks. He was flying back into PE, so not quite there yet. Going to entertain you a little bit longer here, DJ Silver Eagle. This one, I hope you like this one. It was inspired by a lovely young lady who's quite impressive in so many ways. Not the least of which is how astute she is. You see, I was inspired by Sydney's jeans. Let's switch it up for a little country here on Radio Afterlife. Sydney's jeans.
I gave up on denim, thought it was dead. But Sydney's jeans turned my head. Faded blue with a reckless vibe. I can't untie. Sydney's jeans, so hot, so cool, making old rules feel brand new. I want a pair, I need them now. American Eagle, show me how. Thread so fine, they tell a tale. Every rip's a story, every stitch a sail. She walks the streets, she owns the scene. I'm chasing dreams in Sydney's jeans. They bring the past into the now. I'm sold, I'm hooked, I don't know how. On my thighs, wearing the stars under open skies. Sydney's vibe is the fire I crave. Denim dreams that can't behave. Sydney's jeans, so hot, so cool, making old rules feel brand new. I want a pair, American Eagle, show me how. Sydney's jeans, so hot, so cool, making old rules feel brand new. I want a pair, I need them now. American Eagle, show me how. Sydney's
Oh yeah, inspired by Sydney Sweeney. All of our songs are inspired by something or other here on Radio Afterlife. All right, we're about to wrap up. We got one more song we're going to play for you tonight, folks, and it's in that country genre once again. You know, some of our songs are inspired by the strangest of things. Cyril Ramaphosa, Ronnie Lamola, and also by refugees. This song is a long-distance dedication to the Hotzenberg family in Twin Falls, Idaho, whom I've had the distinct pleasure of knowing, meeting, and breaking bread with. Twin Falls Delight.
The sun wakes up in a golden sprawl over fields of wheat so proud, so tall. Morning whispers, rivers hum their tune. A land where hearts can bloom. The mountains stand like ancient friends, the kind of peace that never ends. Oh, Twin Falls delight, where the skies shine bright, a Rocky Mountain high, starry night, friendly faces, open doors, a place to dream, a place that's yours. Main streets alive, laughter fills the air, dreams right on the breeze without a care. The Snake River dances under the light, a sight that takes your soul to flight. Here roots grow deep and spirits soar, a little heaven forevermore. Twin Falls delight. Twin Falls delight, where the skies shine bright, a Rocky Mountain high, starry night, friendly faces, open doors, a place to dream, a place that's yours.
Radio Afterlife, Twin Falls Delight. Shout out to the Hodsenberg family in Twin Falls and all the other refugees who've made it to these shores. Time now to wrap up our broadcast for today. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button if you have not done it already. I know a lot of people came for the news. They've long since left, but some of you may not have hit that like button. James sent you WhatsApp. I'll check it when I get a chance, sir. James, thank you for 35 Rand. All right. Yeah, Mother KD, sometimes people need it. Tough days, that's why we do it. So Twin Falls Delight. You can catch me live in 2 minutes on Ronaldo program over there, and you'll be automatically redirected there if you'd like to join us. The 290 people that remain with the program at this hour. God bless, have a good night, and don't let anyone bring you down. Don't listen to the haters. Hang in there, folks. Cheers.